The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
So we now know that Barry Soetoro was sucking on more than just a crack pipe in the 70s. It is known, and we have basically had every bit of evidence come at us about his identity, about his, and am I anti, homosexual? I mean, I don't roll that way at all. But I'll defend the rights of the homosexuals if they want to go get married. Let's leave the government out of their bedroom. I've always tried to defend their constitutional rights. But, there's something very disturbing about somebody who wants to hide that part of them when, in fact, I mean, having the best of both worlds, wanting, equal protections under the law on one hand, and then really deceiving the American public all the way around by having Michelle Obama being his wife and him not even disclosing anything about that very, very dark past. Now, one big thing about his dark past is his eligibility to be president of the United States. Now, Mia Marie Pope is with me, and she is now telling us, with certainty that he was known as a foreign student. Is that correct?
Oh, without a doubt. Because I'll start and preface it that, okay, I'm very familiar with the school Punahou. And this is a school that you can probably associate that with a handful of other elite schools in the country. And they have some really stringent admission standards. And one of the things that never happens is they don't want you to come in at a mid-level. Like, so if Barry was 10 years old, say, when he came from Indonesia, that put him about at the 5th grade. I didn't know him then. But it is an unheard of concept that you would waltz in to Punahou like that. For one, okay, and the other part is that, and this is the supposition that we had back in the day, that, how did he get into Punahou? And then we kind of thought, oh, well, maybe it's because he's always telling everybody he's a foreign student. And that was something that he just wore as a part of his identity. And one word that came back to me that I wasn't familiar with at the time was the word Mombasa. I don't remember him saying anything about Indonesia, but I do remember the word Mombasa. And at the time, as a 13, 14, 15-year-old girl, I didn't know if that was person, place, or thing. Now, later on, as I grow up, I go to school, I'm becoming more knowledgeable, the word Mombasa associated with Kenya, then I'm thinking, because when I first heard that, I thought, where have I heard that word before? And so he used to say things about Mombasa, and now we subsequently know that that's in Kenya.
In Kenya, yeah, wow.
Right. So it was something like, just like you would have an ordinary conversation, who are you? And he's a foreign student. And then, and that's how we kind of said, oh, I guess maybe they've got a special waiver or some special consideration at Punahou for foreign students, which we'd never heard of before. And I've had boyfriends that have gone to Punahou, and I've had friends that have gone to Punahou, and that's not anything I've ever heard of. I mean, that's over 100-year-old school, and I'll bet you $1 that before Barry Soetoro that never happened, and I don't think it's happened after. I mean, it's really an unheard of concept to just waltz right into Punahou like that.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you ever been, because there's been a lot of investigations, one of which is being conducted by a guy named Mike Zullo. I think you've heard about Sheriff Arpaio's investigation, the cold case posse. Now, I've also had Mike Zullo on the show multiple times, and I've supported his efforts to expose the truth. Unfortunately, they're not revealing the truth, and I don't know why if they know crimes have been committed here, why they're not coming forward. But let me ask you this. Has Mike Zullo ever contacted you to ask you the details about what you know about Barry Soetoro?
Not yet. And through another lady from Hawaii, she has forwarded documents from me to Mike Zullo. So since I'm pretty new on the scene, I'll say not yet have I talked to Mike Zullo, but I'll look forward to speaking with him.
Well, let me ask you something. What has made – I'm going to fast forward now to the present day, because obviously there was a point where you saw a man named Barry Soetoro running around being called Barack Obama. Did you just stop in your tracks and say, that's Barry Soetoro?
Yeah, when Barry first came on the scene, where we could start hearing and seeing some things about him, and I heard Barack Obama, I just shook my. I said, what? Come on now. And I knew something was up. And I was like, okay, so he changed his name, okay. And now I'm almost sitting back like the rest of America, because I knew what kind of a young person he was, but then I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, like, okay, what kind of an adult did he turn out to be? Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of giving him that in the beginning years there, like, and then as I'm seeing that old pattern, every time he opened his mouth, a lie come out, and that same old smoothing it out, telling you a kernel of the truth and building this big lie around it, trying to play you for stupid. And then I thought, that's old Barry there. So then that's when I started jumping on the bandwagon, like, come on now, this is not what America thinks. And that's when I started calling the FBI and the Secret Service, even, I called them.
Did you really?
Tried to bring to their attention about his fake Social Security numbers and his fake addresses. And
when did you start doing this?
About 3 years ago. About 3 years ago. And they just shut me down. I mean, they, thank you very much. See you later. No report, just shut me down. And I was a pain to them. I mean, I was calling a lot. And I was trying to be a pain to them. And because I had a police officer friend whom I cannot mention by name, who let me look at a database. And this is back to, 3 years ago. And the prefixes for the Social Security numbers that Barry had were all different. Now, on this particular database, the suffixes of the Social Security numbers were X'd out, but you could see these addresses, and you could see the prefixes of his Social Security numbers. And let me tell you, these addresses were like 123 Main Street, 1234 Happy Lane, 123 Digital Way, all these fake addresses with fake Social Security numbers.
And which database were you looking at?
You know what? It's a privileged database that you can't really look at unless you've got a license.
Okay. All right. So you observed these multiple Social Security numbers associated with Barry Soetoro or Barack Obama?
It did say Barack Obama, so it looked to me like this database started from the time after he was 18 years old. I haven't laid eyes on him since he was 17 or so, about 17 and a half. And I'm just a little bit younger than him. So I did, so once he left Hawaii, I didn't have any more. So it looked to me like this database started from when he became a legal adult.
Would he know who you are?
I beg your pardon?
Would he know who you are? If we pick up the phone and...
yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm 50 years old now, so, I looked, I'm sure you could probably see some similar characteristics in my face or something, but, I don't know. I mean, I was there.
Did you have any interaction with him to where he would, because, I mean, there's, we all knew each other in high school, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So I mean, if he were in front of me, believe me, I will tell you about my conviction of coming forward with my information. I would tell this clown right to his face. And, if the Secret Service wouldn't jump me, I would tell this clown right to his face. So, I'm fed up with Barry.
Has anybody questioned whether or not but now I know all the details. By the way, I'm on your side. This isn't a challenging question, but I want to actually put this out there and offer this. If anybody questions what you're saying, would you be willing to take a polygraph test?
I guess so. I mean, I don't fear anything. I have a long documented history of Hawaii. One need only take a look at me and you're going to see Hawaii all over everything regarding any of my records. So I say have at it, get your best investigator, and you're going to find that I have not misrepresented anything.
There you go.
And as far as, a polygraph, one thing is, like I said, I don't have a problem with that, except for the reliability of the apparatus itself.
Sure.
There's a reason it's not admissible in court. So I would sort of like, I don't want to get set up by Obamanoids who are going to like,
Sure.
Do a fake thing on me and then try to, say, oh, look at here, she didn't pass. I've got a ton of circumstantial evidence.
If it ever comes about, if it ever comes about, just know that we would back you in those efforts. Just tell people, Pete Santilli said he would definitely help with the polygraph test to validate.
Then if I have a good, reliable, neutral source, I don't have any problem with that.
Good.
And even though it looks like maybe I'm the Lone Ranger, there's a lot of people that know about Barry. It's just they haven't found the personal courage, or they're just not at the point where they're ready to stand up. But I am in no way like the only person that knows the real scoop on Barry Soetoro.
Yeah, and a lot of things that are very, very critical. I mean, I would consider them to be national security issues. I mean, if he's out there portraying himself as a foreign student, that's a problem. Yeah. Okay? If he's out there being called Barry Soetoro, well, at what point did he go from Barry Soetoro to Barack Hussein Obama? I mean, we need to know these things. And let me ask you this.
Right.
Mia, why do you think this is being covered up?
Because I think that certain elements, if you in the government, as well as we've got these globalist individuals that are bent on the destruction of America. You got the gangbangsters in on it, and so quite clearly, some powerful entity placed Barry Soetoro in the White House. Okay, if you really knew this guy. And he's not even so intelligent. I'm not saying he's the dullest tool in the shed, but they make him out like he's some brilliant guy. Listen to him talk without a teleprompter. Just listen to him talk one time without a teleprompter, and it's very telling about how really brilliant the guy is. So somebody put him where he is. And I have a theory, a working hypothesis, that he's doing the bidding for this rogue shadow element of the government, and they dangle the carrot in front of him like, hey, Barry, keep doing our business, do our business for us, and we'll let you stay behind the microphone.
Oh, and
because he's got that narcissistic personality disorder, so he's really getting off on, getting his narcissistic supply. I think that's what's happening.
And any libtard out there that disputes that and calls us conspiracy theories, all right, are ignoring the evidence that exists. So many different anomalies that exist. Now, the FBI won't investigate it. The Secret Service won't investigate it. I mean, I've contacted the Secret Service and asked them. Did you know this, by the way? I picked up the phone. I called the White House. I spoke to the Secret Service and asked them to go have him arrested. He's hijacked the White House.
I did too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I told him. I said, you know where the problem is? 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Get him, Tiger. And they don't do nothing.
They do absolutely nothing. And it's remarkable to me. Now, I've also been told, and I want to hear what your comment is about this. He's signed so many executive orders and so much legislation. They say that if they tried to, investigate and expose this, it would invalidate every piece of legition. I say, so what?
That is so critical. And I agree. I mean, if you look at the systematic destruction of our Constitution, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to look at how they're incrementally destroying America's economy. I mean, that's what this Obamacare is all about. And then if you look at all of these executive orders where they're incrementally taking, everybody's a criminal. When you walk down the street, you even don't have an idea if you're breaking a law now, so now every citizen is a criminal. So now we're getting closer and closer to that, Nazi Germany type, shake you down for your papers so you can walk down for the street type life. And, he's doing his part. And he's not the only president. I mean, he's our problem today. But, I think several presidents in the past have done their part, do their angle, and then now it's Barry's turn and he's doing his angle. But it's plain that Barry Soetoro does not work for the American people.
Oh.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.